I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, and this is our top 25 songs from 2011 video. So thank you guys for watching and being a part of VIMTV this year. I know I said this in the top 25 albums video that we just finished filming, but it really means a lot to us that you guys have been such a support for us and have participated with us throughout the year through our Facebook, YouTube, our website, and Twitter accounts. We've had a ton of great interaction with you guys and really good requests, so keep that going. We want to keep that fire burning and letting VIMTV just keep doing more music reviews, because that's what we're all about.
Yep.
All right, to start off our list, so our 25th favorite song, Tom?
M83's Midnight City. The great thing about Midnight City is that it takes this electronic kind of dance element, very catchy kind of synth hook, but it's also got a lot of sentimental kind of nostalgia feeling to it. And it's a great combination, and it really encapsulates the general feeling you get from M83's album, Hurry Up, We're Dreaming.
Right. Now, number 24 was Kurt Weill's Society Is My Friend.
Is my friend. It makes
Kurt Weill really showed off his just eccentric style for songwriting with a lot of finger-picked guitar and his crazy vocal patterns that he uses. You know, society is my friend, and it gave it such an endearing quality that you had to fall in love with certain tracks. And there were a number of tracks on this album, but this one made our list because it just was kind of one of the highlights.
Mm-hmm. And next, for number 23, we've got the Joy Formidable with Whirring. You know, the fact that this song is on here really shows what I love about doing the songs list as well as the albums list for each year. And that's that we get to appreciate tracks that really stood out on albums that we were kind of lukewarm about. Now, we both really liked The Big Roar, which was the Joy Formidable's first album, but Whirring was just a monster of a track on that album, and it's actually gotten some radio attention since then, which I think is very deserving because it's just a good, catchy, unique, rock the hell out song, and we can all use a little more of
Very
those.
intense.
Mm-hmm. Now, moving on, we've got number 22, Iron and Wine, Walking Far From Home.
I was walking far from home.
Walking Far From Home was the opening track on Kiss Each Other Clean, Iron Wine's newest album, and you know, it showed right away that this was going to be a different step for Sam Beam and Iron and Wine. But it still maintains the beauty of Sam Beam's past work and that moving quality, but it has all those little nuances that really made Kiss Each Other Clean an interesting and engaging album.
With way different production.
Oh, yeah.
Now, up next for 21 is Youth Lagoon's Montana. To me, Montana was the highlight track on the Year of Hibernation, which was an album full of songs like Montana, structurally like Montana. And this song in particular, though, I felt to be very emotionally powerful. When the beat comes in halfway through the track, it just blows you away. And while the Year of Hibernation may not have been one of the best albums of the year, I know that both Tom and I found a lot of really good qualities about it.
A lot of great songs individually.
Again, like the Joy Formidable, this is one of those that it's nice to highlight one of the tracks from it. So for number 20 on our list is The Kills' Satellite. Satellite really shows off The Kills' ability to just make the most intense and engaging song that you could possibly hear on a blues rock, kind of dirty rock record like this one. And to tell you the truth, this song, the vocal hook is what really gets me.
Yeah.
Up next is the Dodos at number 19, Sleep. On our 25 albums review list from 2011, I mentioned how No Color just showed the Dodos being the Dodos, and I think the Sleep is very much in that same description of just the Dodos just totally embracing their style, and you have a really fast-paced beat and lots of finger-picked acoustic guitar and really powerful vocal hooks that just make the song super catchy. It's just all around just a great song and a really fun track from the Dodos.
And number 18, we've got PJ Harvey with Let England Shake.
Let England shake, weight it down.
This is, again, the opening track from PJ Harvey's album of the same name, which was very high, I think in number 8 or 9 on our favorite albums list of 2011. And the reason this song is on our songs list is because, well, it does such a great job of opening up this monstrous concept album about England. And it's so, it's got this kind of staggered feel because it's got the time signature, which changes into 7 every now and then, giving it this kind of spooky, offbeat feel with her very haunting vocals. Just a great typical track from that album, and it's one to check out if you haven't listened to.
Now, number 17 is Fleet Fox's Battery Kinzie. Now, this track off Helplessness Blues this year was, in my opinion, the anthem of Helplessness Blues. It has a lot of pounding piano and really just a lot of harmonized vocals and just very powerful all the way around. It was the most upbeat point on Helplessness Blues too, which to me made it seem more of a climactic song than really anything else. Now, 16 is the Braids' Lammicken. Lammicken for me was the highlight track on Native Speaker, which was an album that just went all over the place. Lammicken was track 5 on that album, right at the very center, at the heart of it, and it's this dark piece that just slowly builds and builds and builds into it's just this tidal wave of just emotion at the end where all these instruments come in. And to me, it just totally captured my attention from the first time that I listened to Native Speaker and became one of my track picks since then.
Well, because it's such a huge shift in the middle of the album.
It is.
It's just complete change of pace, and that's what makes those guys so great.
And it put the stamp on it that said, hey, we're for real.
Yeah, no kidding. And number 15, we've got Thursday with Turnpike Divides. Turnpike Divides is the second to last track on Thursday's album, No Devolution, which is really, to me, the kind of true emotional climax of the album. Now, after that, you've got Stay True, which is almost like more of an epilogue, really closing out the album. But Turnpike Divides is the song that immediately turned me onto this album. When I got to that track, and at the beginning you've just got this intense, very intense kind of verse, chorus thing, and this kind of emo monologue, which you may or may not like. Right. But then what really gets me every time is that whole last minute or two long outro of that track, where you've got this repeating, it's in 4, but it's 7 bars of 4, kind of Beatles Yesterday style, nice. which gives it this very kind of off feel, staggered feel, as I've said before about other songs and on other albums. But it's just the most moving and building an intensity end of a song. I cannot say enough good about it. I love that track. Moving on from there, we've got number 14, Radiohead's, the closing track from The King of Limbs, Separator.
Separator, being the 8th track on The King of Limbs, closing the album out, just does a really, really good job of capturing all of the qualities that Radiohead presented the listener in The King of Limbs. You got a really good bass groove, which bass was a highlight from The King of Limbs.
Definitely.
A crazy beat, lots of guitars going on, yet it has this kind of, it's very mellow in its own sense, in that Radiohead way where it can still be mellow and intense at the same time. And the track title, Separator, was one of the main reasons that a lot of people believed there was going to be more material released from Radiohead in 2011, and such. We were proved wrong. I was one of those people, and nothing's come since then. But as a last track being called Separator, it's going to work with any of their other albums in the future that they may come out with. Now, coming up next is number 12, or number 13 on our list, excuse me, St. Vincent, Cruel. Cruel, being the second track on Strange Mercy, really was kind of cruel because the first 5 tracks on that album are just simply mind-blowing. And every time I come back to this album, Cruel has always been, one of those highlights, but it's really the song that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the album. Chloe in the Afternoon opens up with just this powerful chorus, but then Cruel is what really sets the groove of the album. You have lots of saxophones and a really cool melody line that it just gets stuck in your head, and it gave me this resounding sense that when I listened to Cruel, that this is the way a good track should sound. It should just be direct and fun, and that's what I loved about it.
All right, moving on to number 12, we've got another track from Thursday. This one's called A Darker Forest. A Darker Forest is track 3 on Thursday's album No Devolution, and I think it's a great placement for it because the first track, Fast to the End, is just rocking, just kind of a balls out, in-your-face rock track. Track 2, No Answers, is a little softer and moodier, and then when it gets to A Darker Forest is when you really know that this album is going to be a moving and dark experience.
Right.
I mean, just the name itself with the tones of it, being an English geek like I am, reminds me of like Hawthorne's Young Goodman Brown when he takes this kind of like sinful walk into the woods with the devil. And so all this imagery comes up, and then there's this reverbed out, and the chorus is just so huge and booming and kind of apocalyptic. And wow, what a powerful song.
Good analogy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Moving on to number 11, we've got Laura Marling with Sophia. Sophia was the track from A Creature I Don't Know that really got me hooked on the album.
Okay.
It's the second to last track, and so before the ender of All My Rage, which is kind of a shorter track, this is like the last big track from the album, and it starts really slow, and it evolves into this just kind of folk alternative country just jam out that has this groove that you can't help but bob your head and smile to, and the vocals are just so beautiful and perfect, and I cannot stop gushing about that song. So moving on.
Number 10 is Lykke Lee's I Follow Rivers. This is the second track on Wounded Rhymes, and just right from the get-go with that weird kind of Caribbean conga sound,
steel drum, weird,
just from the opening, and then the heavy beat of bump, bump, ba ba bum. It's a fun song. You get into it right away. Great melody lines, and it always makes you wonder, what's she following Rivers Cuomo for?
Yeah, Rivers Cuomo should probably get a restraining order or something. She's following him around.
So track 9, or song 9 on our list.
Yeah, song 9 is James Blake with The Wilhelm Scream. The great thing about the Wilhelm Scream is it's this very repetitive vocal line, the I don't know about my dreams, and so on, replacing dreams with love and loving, and you know, despite the repetition and actual overall lack of vocal variety, it's somehow very moving with the production and the way the beats and the layers of synth and whatnot, whatever the hell's going on electronically in the background, the way it builds against that backdrop, it just drills into your head, and it just becomes a very interesting experience.
Yeah, it's crazy how the minimalism of the sound can be so moving at the same time. Up next on our list is number 8, and that's from the Decemberists from The King is Dead, and the song's called Don't Carry It All. Don't Carry It All was really a special track to both of us. The King is Dead came out very early in 2011, and this song really set the tone for all of the 2011 reviews that we did. It kind of set the standard of what is a good track. It's very forward, very anthemic, and overall it's just a song that you rally behind, and a great way to open up that album.
The thing that I loved about this song is that, you know, while I've always been a Decemberists fan, I like all their work. You know, I've never liked them quite as much as you, and I think the reason is because I've always found Colin Malloy's vocals to be a little overdone, a little too exuberant.
Even lyrics.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that this track, it's like, cut the BS, just straightforward, good, solid, not whiny vocal performance, and a well-written song in general. And so when I heard that song for the first time, I was like, wow, what a great move for the Decemberists, and I keep coming back to it.
It's a pretty good way to open up what was a pretty decent release.
Yeah. Now, moving on to number 7 of our songs of 2011 is Bon Iver with Holocene. Holocene. This is my second favorite song of the year. It was actually really a tough call not putting this as first. I just find this to be, I mean, simply put, one of the most gorgeous and moving songs I have ever heard. With Bon Iver's kind of classic, well now classic, and expected falsetto, with the finger-picked guitar that just, you know, keeps being built upon into just a huge and beautiful song.
And all the lush instrumentation really that they displayed was quite captivating. Number 6 on our list is a track from an album that hasn't even, it's not even an album, it's an EP, the Coloring Book EP from Glassjaw, and the track is called, oh crap, Black Nurse.
as Jake kind of already mentioned, Black Nurse is the opening track on Glassjaw's actual second EP that they put out in 2011, the Coloring Book EP. And right away, it lets you know that things are going to be a little different on this EP. I mean, the production is huge. It's noisy. It's very, very overcompressed. Well, not overcompressed. I mean, it's just right, I'd say.
Heavy.
Yeah, it's a very heavy track, but it's got Daryl Palumbo's classic vocals. I mean, what more do you want for just a rock-out Glassjaw track? This is what we've learned to love and expect from the band, and it does not let us down.
Definitely the highlight on the EP, too. Up next at number 5 is Mastodon's Blasteroid. Mastodon just has a way of making just kick-ass rock tracks, and this song totally lives up to that statement, and just from the very get-go with the crazy guitar lines. I know that Tom really liked this whole album, but this song really just came together as kind of the highlight for both.
Yeah, which is funny because it's one of the shortest tracks. I believe it's right around 3 minutes. But I mean, what they accomplish in that time is so great, and it's so powerful and memorable. It's a very much a powerhouse of a track. Moving on to number 4 is Elbow's Lippy Kids.
Walking on walls, stealing.
This is my favorite song of the year, personally, from my favorite album of the year, unsurprisingly.
It was up there for me, too.
Yeah, it was. I remember seeing that, and so that's why it's our number 4. This song, along with Holocene, which is why I had trouble picking whichever one was going to be my number 1. I love both those songs, but because it's just so damn moving to me. It's a very minimalist track. It goes on for a long time. It's like 6+ minutes. But the lyrics are really what pack a punch in here, and the way Guy Garvey emotes them just perfectly. It has that youthful nostalgia to it, where you think back to your days of youth and being a troublemaker and whatnot, and how you grow up from that. And I don't know, for me, where I'm at in my life right now, I find that to be a very, very powerful sentiment.
Up next at number 3 on our list is Yonkers from Tyler, the Creator's Goblin.
Nigga Jasper tryna get grown. About 5'7" of his bitches in my bedroom.
Yonkers was clearly the highlight track, almost one of the highlight tracks from the year, but the highlight track off of Goblin for Tyler, the Creator, which was a really controversial album. Tyler, the Creator, being as young as he is really trying to push the boundaries of rap music, and Yonkers is his thesis statement. And while the rest of the album didn't have the consistency of being as high quality as Yonkers, here on this track, you see Tyler, the Creator really just experimenting with beats, and his lyrical patterns got really dark and twisted, and it just came together really nicely. It's an engaging listen.
And the lyrics are great. I mean, talk about, you have some kind of violent, as you said, controversial topics for a rap song, and yet somehow you can't help but get behind it. I mean, who doesn't want to stab Bruno Mars in his goddamn esophagus?
You want to.
Yeah,
in his esophagus.
So, for him to be able to do that and turn you like that with a song is a very powerful statement.
Now, up next on our list is number 2, Radiohead, Lotus Flower.
Now, music video aside, because who can hear this song and not picture Tom York dancing with his hat, I mean, this was the kind of epitomal track from the King of Limbs. We said a similar thing about Separator, but really this one encapsulates it even more with the bass groove, with the crazy beat. I mean, it's all there, but more than anything, I think what even puts this above Separator for us is just the vocal melody. In the chorus and in the verse, it's very catchy in both parts, and yet you can't call it like a pop sellout thing. I mean, it's still a very strange move for Radiohead, but they make it work, they did
a great job of just making it capture the essence of the entire King of Limbs album. So, for our number 1 track of the year, Wye Oak's Civilian. This track is it's the darkest moment on Civilian and really set the mood for that entire album, which we both really liked this year. Civilian is a track that starts off with a dark, brooding guitar line and then just slowly builds in, has some nice kind of organ effect keys in it, and just really good intensity building.
And it just gets nice and noisy right in the middle to the end of it.
And overall, that's what you want in just a stellar track. And from start to finish, it set the tone from the album and just showed off Wye Oak's songwriting powers, and it's pretty exemplary in really all facets of songwriting. So thanks, guys, for watching our top 25 songs from 2011 list. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And if you guys would continue to please follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and leave comments, because that's how we get album requests, and a lot of those songs end up on our lists like this. So thanks for participating and watching. We are VIM TV, and as always, we are moving music critique forward.